Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Hidden. Good morning, Danny. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is March the 27th, I believe, 11 o'clock Central European Time, 10 o'clock UTC, and we are back with another banger of a show. Welcome back. We haven't done many live streams this week. We've been trying to make videos. We've done top AI tokens, top real-world asset tokens, top tokens that make money. We've done many shorts this week. We've tried to kind of focus on building our content out rather than doing live streaming because it's chicken and egg. If we don't make content, we don't get followers. If we don't get followers, there's no point in doing the live streams. So this week I am streaming today. I'm also streaming tomorrow with Maple Finance to go through their updates from the last 2 weeks. We're going to be giving away bags of syrup. Any question that I deem good enough to read out on the stream will win a bag of syrup. We do it every 2 weeks, and we're going to do another one tomorrow. Now, today we have a question of the day, which you can answer in chat as you see fit. Should Saylor burn his keys when he dies? I dropped a short onto Binance Square and somewhere else this morning, basically discussing that Michael Saylor said that when he dies, his keys to his wallet will go with him. I think he's probably got about 20,000 Bitcoin in his private wallets. Do you think he should burn his keys when he dies and lose those 20,000 Bitcoin forever? Or do you think they should be given to family, friends, charities, whatever? Let me know in chat what you think. We have a good show today. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin. I'm going to bring up the Bitcoin chart. Hopefully the Oracle, who is within earshot of me, does not log into TradingView while I am live streaming because I'm going to bring up my Bitcoin chart. We're going to be talking about Solana's transaction volumes, where Solana can go from here. Price-wise, we're going to be talking about XRP. We're going to be talking about a circle jerk. If you don't know what one of them is, wait and find out. We're going to be talking about a Tau warning. I made a video this week about Bitenza. A very good video, if I may say so myself, going through everything about Bitenza. I need to re-export the video for it to work on Binance Square because there is a 600 megabyte cap, but it is on the Rest of the World website. And it basically goes through what Bitenza is, what the benefits are, how it could potentially be a token to look at in the future. But I'm going to take you through a warning that I've got for you about that token. And if you don't watch anything else on this stream, watch that. It's about 5 articles in. Then we're going to talk about Zach, XBT. He's talking about some FUD that's been put out. And then we're going to finish with MoonPay. And that is it. We've got some X-Files. We've got the charts to talk about as well. So we have a lot to get through. And before we begin, I've said hello to the people on the Rest of the World site. Jani, Ridoy, Rubai, I hope you're well. Of course, we've got BB in chat. I hope you're doing incredibly well. If you're in chat, let me know if you think that Saylor should burn his keys when he dies. Let me know in chat what you think. Now, I'm just going to pin the Bitcoin price to the stream because I think we're going to be focusing on Bitcoin a lot in this stream. But first of all, let's head over and have a look at where we are with Bitcoin. 67,665 US dollars per Bitcoin. Now, again, many of you are thinking that's the end of Bitcoin. If you read the thumbnail, it says red alert. And I'm going to bring up the chart to show you that we're still in the range. We've not left the range. We're in the range. We're in the same kind of range we were in before we came down in February. There's probably a few more days left in that range before we do. We're probably likely to see some kind of rally in the next few days before we dump. So it's not the end of Bitcoin as we know it, by the way, but it is probably the end of this type of price action. We might come down towards 61, 62, 63,000. That's what I'm thinking, but we'll go through that in a bit. Ethereum is still holding on to $2,000. That's good to see. Again, I'm not going to give you my bear prices for this stream. It will take me too long. BNB just above just below $620. XRP has lost $1.40. It's now $1.34 stablecoin. Solana is coming in at $85. I want that lower. I want to buy more Solana, and I want to buy it at $50 to $60. Get the price of Solana down so I can fill my bags. That's what I am looking forward to. Tron is up there in 8th position. The video I made yesterday was called Making Money. It's about the top 6 revenue generating projects in crypto, and Tron is on that list. Dogecoin is there, and what you will see is a changing of the guard at the very bottom of the top 10. If you take out USDC and USDT, technically Cardano is now 10th, whereas it was probably about 8th. Hype has moved up to 10th position or 8th position. Bitcoin Cash is still hanging around there. But what's interesting about Hype is it's coming in at a $10 billion market cap. I think it could easily take out Dogecoin. I don't think it's going to take out Tron. To take out Tron, we're looking at $110 Hype. We're not going to get $110 Hype in this market at this stage, and I'm going to show you why when I get to the X-Files. I've got a few messages that I've put out today, and that is one of them. Now, there's been a lot of jiggery-pokery with regards to tokens over the last few days. The Oracle stream today at 1 p.m. is going to be about altcoins. I'm going to update the title, probably update the thumbnail as well. The Oracle is going to be looking at some AI tokens today. The prices of Tau, the prices of Near, the price of Render. So what he's probably going to do is have a look at AI tokens today. So if you're interested in getting into Near or Render or Tau or anything like that, make sure to watch that stream. That's going to be up in about 3 hours' time. So it's about 10 a.m. Central European now. He's going to be 10 a.m. UTC now. He's going to be streaming at 1 p.m. UTC. So make sure to tune in for that. Now, gainers, just give me 1 second to log out of Telegram. There we go, notifications. Okay, we've got Canton up there. Canton is starting to break up into the reasonable priced coins. And the reason I say that is that I quickly went through the top 30 tokens this morning, and it's changed an awful lot in the last 4 years, as you'd expect, different prices of coins. Canton is right up there in the mix, but there aren't many gainers today. As you can see, Layer Zero is up, Chiliz is up, and that's pretty much it. If you look at losers, Siren, which is one of the coins the Oracle is going to look at today, is down 50% plus. It was up 100 and what? 120, 130% this week. It's down over 50%. It's down 6% on the week. Absolutely crazy. Memecoin is down. Memecore is down. WorldCoin, EtherFi, Pi. There's a few scammy tokens up there that I don't particularly like. I don't like Pi. I don't like WorldCoin. Kite is down. Casper is down. Again, there are some big losers, but Siren screams manipulation, in my opinion. Just give me 1 second. Right then, let's move on and have a look at some X-Files. Again, let me know in chat if you've got any questions. If you've got any tokens that you want the Oracle to look at this afternoon in our second live stream. 16.4 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options expire today. They are looking at a range here. And what you basically look at with things like this is the max pain is $75,000. We're not going to go anywhere near $75,000 at this price. So what the options basically show you is March is the third month of the year. So this is the end of the first quarter. We talked about the witching last week, where you have multiple witching events happen. This is quite large in the grand scheme of things when it comes to today. So just keep an eye on that. Again, I expect some volatility today. Maybe we go back up and get rejected at $70,000. Maybe this is to liquidate the shorts. You don't know how the markets are being played at this moment in time, but just be careful. There are better days to trade leverage than others, and you just have to keep an eye on what's coming out, what's being released and stuff like that. Now, another one of the videos that we made this week was about Chainlink, one platform to connect them all. Chainlink, the video I made was called the most undervalued crypto asset, and I believe that to be Chainlink. The reason I think it's undervalued is I think about 5 or 6 projects above Chainlink are way overvalued compared to Chainlink. And when we sit here talking about an $8 and $9 chain link, it just doesn't sit well with me. The market cap as well, I think, is about 9 trillion as well. I think this is a $20 trillion project. Sorry, $20 billion project. So I think the price of Chainlink right now in this bear market should be $15 to $20. We see Hype move. We have seen Canton move. We are seeing we're seeing Cardano not doing too well. I don't know why nobody is moving Chainlink. It's absolutely critical to everything in crypto working. And if you don't hold any Chainlink, that's on you. It's not on me, because one day we're going to be sitting here, Chainlink's going to be at $25 or $35, and you're going to be looking at yourself saying, why didn't I buy it at $8 or $9? And I'd be asking you the same question, because it's not financial advice. Watch the video when I put it out on Binance Square, and you will see why. Now then, let's move on. We've got a lot to get through, and we don't try and dally too much on either things. Now, you know, there's been a lot of videos made about this already. I'm not going to make one. We talk about adoption in crypto, and we kind of talk you through all the different ways crypto gets adopted. We talk about the fact that there will be crypto exchanges that buy banks. There will be banks that buy crypto exchanges. There will be Binance will become a bank. A bank will become a crypto exchange, and the blurring of the lines will happen. And another blurring of the lines is when it comes to collateral and assets you can use to take out loans. You know, people might want to get $1,000. They might put their car up as collateral, or their wedding ring, or their house, whatever it might be, and it can be used as collateral. Fannie Mae are accepting crypto-backed mortgages for the first time. Now, they didn't do this, thankfully, at the October all-time high, but they're doing it when Bitcoin is sitting at $68,000. So you put up 4 or 5 Bitcoin, you are going to do incredibly well. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Doorbell. Wasn't expecting it to turn up for a few hours, but we are back. So, as we were. So, using Bitcoin as an asset to back your mortgage, if you've got, I don't know, 3 or 4 Bitcoin, you can go and probably buy a house and pay 0 interest on it. But the problem with this is, of course, you have to give them your Bitcoin. They will then store that Bitcoin and probably rehypothecate it. That's the issue with using your assets to back any of these types of things. You've got to be very, very careful when you do it. And it's not the thing that I would do. I think this is early doors. I think if you are a wealthy American and you've got a wealthy advisor and you can get insurance on it, absolutely fine. But this could be a problem if Fannie Mae gets hacked and the Bitcoin gets stolen. That's an issue. I don't think they're going to allow you to simply hold the Bitcoin in your account and use these as asset-backed loans. What you're more likely to see, as I said before about banks merging with crypto exchanges, you're more likely to see the likes of Binance being able to offer this in the future, where the Bitcoin never leaves the exchange. That's a possibility that I think is more than likely going to be the way forward for stuff like this. Now, the second thing I want to talk about very quickly is this kind of stuff. And that is Cryptex Digital Market Cap Index. This is another ETF, not sponsored by these guys, by the way. But what I kind of want to cover off is this. We talked about the fact that you have your Bitcoin, you have your Ethereum, your XRP, and your Cardano ETFs. Your Link ETFs are coming online. Your AVAX ETFs are coming online. They're all coming online. Now, the big thing for me about this is it's not that those individual ETFs are ever going to be a massive success. It's to allow baskets to be created. And this is a good example of a basket. So this is a basket of 36 assets in their index fund. And as you can see, it's got the likes of Bitcoin on there. It's got BNB on there. It's got Ethereum on there. It's got Solana. It's got Cardano. It's got all the usual suspects. Hype is on there. And although I'm not necessarily a big fan of every single project mentioned in this fund, it's just this is a preview of what's to come in the financial markets. If you are a boomer, if you are somebody of my age, and you want to get into putting some of your retirement into an ETF or into your retirement fund, you don't know what to buy. And your investment advisor is probably going to say, buy some Bitcoin, maybe buy some Ethereum, and then get something like this, because this gives you exposure to all of the different crypto assets. So I think these types of funds are going to be massive successes. Now, you don't need these because you're on Binance. You don't need these because you're on another exchange or you've got self-custody. That's absolutely fine. This isn't aimed at you. But if your gran, your granddad, your aunt, your uncle, they want to buy into crypto and they don't want to use a crypto exchange, they don't want to put their money near the internet, the banks or the investment teams or whatever that they use, the Vanguards even of this world, you will be able to buy into things like this. So it's not necessarily about the Cryptex Digital Market Cap Index. It's about the fact that you're going to get access to basically all the different cryptocurrencies. Now, would I personally buy this? No. I don't think this is the kind of thing that I would buy into, simply because there's some of these tokens on here that I don't care about. Now, I love Bonk. I love Pudgy Penguins. I love Pepe. I detest Dogecoin. I don't want them in my portfolio. I also don't want Pump.Fun in my portfolio. So there's a few coins on here that I'm not interested in, and they make up enough of the portfolio for me not to care about it. I don't want Zcash or Dash either. So there's a few coins in here that I don't like. And the problem is, you know, there's a lot of tokens on there. I just don't see it working for somebody who's in crypto. I see it working for everybody else. I just don't see it working for people in crypto. Right then, very quickly, let me move on. That tweet appears to have disappeared. So I'm going to go straight onto my tweet. And have a quick look at this. Now, before I go any further, let me just check in chat. Make sure everybody is here. Good morning, everybody. Eddie Nance is here. If you are not, hold it today, then why did you buy it at all? What's this? I don't know what that means, Eddie. I don't know who you're talking to. Maybe it's somebody who is banned or muted. Who knows? But anyway, let me move on very quickly. I do apologise. We had somebody come to the door at the very beginning of the stream, and it threw me off a little bit. Now then, this is just a very quick one. There's a lot of people in chat who are saying, is this the bottom for Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin going to go higher from here? Have we found a bottom? There's a lot of people telling you this on crypto Twitter, that we've bottomed out. I just want to kind of show you this tweet and not have to go through each one individually. We have two big wars going on. Oil and gas prices are going up because of those wars, as we know. There's no Fed rate cuts penciled in for this year. The midterms are in October and November, and job claims are starting to go up. Okay? The economy of the world is suffering. America is suffering. UK, Europe, they are suffering. Crypto, especially the non-Bitcoin crypto, are the riskiest assets pretty much of everything you can get into right now. Why on earth are the riskiest assets in the world going to go up? They're not. Until we see the end of some of these things, so until we see the end of the Iran crisis, then oil and gas prices will fall, then the inflationary pressure will go away, and then maybe the Fed will talk about rate cuts. Do you honestly see that happening in a week? No. It's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in a month. It might take 2, 3, 4 months for this to flush out of the system. My target for the end of the year is to be higher than we were when we started 2026. But that doesn't mean we're going to have a great big gouge in the middle. Now, I'm going to bring up the Bitcoin chart in a bit, and I'm going to show you where I expect us to go to. We are going lower, okay? The same way that we always have a really good October, we're going lower in April or May. I can't say with absolute certainty it's going to be April. I can't say with absolute certainty precisely where we're going to go, but we're going to go down. Nothing on this screen tells me that investment advisors are sitting there going, you know what, I think it's a great idea to buy cryptocurrency while the world is on fire. Said nobody ever. Okay, they buy gold, they sit on cash. That's what they do. Okay, so for all of the people out there thinking that crypto is in this bubble, we are not in a bubble. Everything in the world interacts with everything else. We are part of a great big financial ecosystem where everything moves around. Okay, we're not going to go to $100,000 anytime soon. And that doesn't mean that we're going to $20,000 either, like some people keep saying to you. But look at where we are in the world. Look at what is going on, and then ask yourself, is this the time for Bitcoin to go higher? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Now, let me move on. We have a few comments in chat. Mary says, I could be a trusted key holder, Michael, if you're watching. I will pass that on to Michael Saylor. Bitcoin doesn't need more permanent losses. It needs more credible long-term holders who demonstrate its durability and its money across generations. I totally agree with that. Saylor should not burn his keys. Let Bitcoin go to his heirs. I think, if I remember correctly, the guy who died, I can't remember his name now, the one who got the illness, who died, he left Bitcoin to his kids, and he left them wallets with key seed phrases. So for them to get access to the wallets, they needed to know how to you know, put the seed phrase in and whatever it might be. So he did, in fact, do that. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, we've got a question of the day. Should Michael Saylor burn his keys when he dies? That's the question. Should Michael Saylor burn his keys when he dies? That's what he's been talking about doing. 20,000 Bitcoin will be lost. Hal Finney was the guy who died and left his heirs crypto, but he left them seed phrases to learn how to access it. Now we're going to move on. This is the interesting one. Strategy now drives nearly all Bitcoin treasury demand. Okay, now I did say I don't trust treasuries other than probably two. I trust Bitmine and I trust Strategy. That's it. Everything else and everybody else is a chancer. Whether it be the Sol strategies, whether it be the Sui strategies, they're all chancers. Okay? They bought the top, and now everybody invested in them is down 75%. The Sui strategy went live at $4 plus. Where is it now? $1.98? That's working out real well for those strategies. Again, I made a video yesterday in which I was talking about a CEO of a certain exchange, and he said, come and see me in a year's time. Now, it was probably just a throwaway comment, but everybody on this channel knows that this is the midterm year and this is going to be the bear market year. Okay? And on my streams, I said, The latest we run into this year is maybe January. Okay, if the bull run continues, then we go into January. We didn't. We got to October. This is the bear market. This is what happens in the midterm years after we've put in the all-time high. It's the same cycle, the same story. Now, when you see these strategy companies popping up in 2025, buying all of these crypto assets and screaming YOLO and all of these different types of things, you just have to look at them and say, I will never touch that project. I will never go anywhere near them. And I've been saying for months, if that SUI strategy or one of the Solana strategies explodes and has to sell 100,000 Solana or, I don't know, 1 million SUI, it's going to dent the price of that token. And I said at the time, I don't think the contagion is going to play out because they're not really big projects at the end of the day. They're not big enough to cause what I think to be contagion. Now, strategy, the stats have been put out. I don't think they're going to be in here. But strategy is the only single player really going out and buying Bitcoin. And that's because he's found an infinite money loop where he is issuing STRK and he's buying Bitcoin with it. They have bought 45,000 Bitcoin in the last 30 days, compared to 1,000 Bitcoin from all other Treasury participants. So Michael Saylor is literally carrying Bitcoin at Treasuries right now, and Treasuries in general, apart from maybe Tom Lee. According to data shared by CryptoQuant on March the 25th, activity across non-strategy Treasury firms has declined significantly. Purchases from other companies are down 99% from the peak, and there is the peak. And here we are with Saylor buying at this end. And as you can see, everybody bought during the bull run. And what do you not do? You don't buy during the bull run. That's right, especially when you're buying with other people's money. Because all that's going to happen is it's going to hit the fan and there's going to be, I don't know, a margin call. There's going to be an investor meeting. They're going to call for the sale of the assets and you are screwed. Even Tom Lee is down. He was at one point, he was down $8 to $10 billion on his investment. He's still dollar cost averaging in. I think he's big enough to survive an Ethereum. Strategy now owns 4% of all Bitcoin in circulation. I can't remember if his goal is to get to 1 million, 1.1 million, something like that. The takeaway isn't necessarily bearish, but it absolutely is bearish. Bitcoin's treasury narrative is no longer supported by a wide corporate base. Instead, it is increasingly tied to the behavior of a single, highly active buyer. Now, I do agree that Michael Saylor is single-handedly pushing forward with his purchases of Bitcoin. And quite rightly, he doesn't care about other treasuries. Also, Bitcoin doesn't care about other treasuries. Nobody should really care. What matters is what impact would there be on the chain if that strategy or that treasury, was liquidated. So if every other treasury in Bitcoin was liquidated tomorrow, would it dent the price of Bitcoin? Probably not massively. Would the reputational damage of Bitcoin be gone? No, it wouldn't. If Saylor had to sell 850,000 Bitcoin, what would it do to Bitcoin? It would destroy Bitcoin, temporarily destroy Bitcoin. But more longer term, it would massively damage the reputation of Bitcoin as an investment asset for companies. So Michael Saylor is a threat to Bitcoin's price. Michael Saylor is a threat to institutional adoption. And we can all talk about him as a savior. He is a savior. He's the guy who's going to save the world. What's he going to save the world from? He's buying your Bitcoin. He is not the savior of Bitcoin. He is a great advocate for Bitcoin, but he is not doing this for you. He's not doing it for the good of mankind. He's doing it for his company, which is Strategy, and they want to get to the stage where they own us the same amount of Bitcoin. Look at Bitmine. Why are Bitmine doing what they're doing? They're not doing it for the good of the health. Now, the issue for me with Bitcoin is this, very simply put. This drop down from here to here looks like it's going to come down here as well. I don't think it's going to come that low. But what do I know? I think we're going to go to about $50,000. That's what I've said all along, $50,400. I'm just bringing this up for the people that don't or haven't seen this before. We have these steps in Bitcoin, okay? We talk about it on the way up. We talk about tokens that do this. Now, when a token does this, what happens to it? It does that, right? Why? There's no price history. There's no support. There's nothing. It's just an absolute wick to the heavens. And we're going to talk about that with Tao in a minute. What does Bitcoin do? Bitcoin does this, okay? And it creates steps. It creates memories of its past. And those memories of its past offer it support on the way down. So Bitcoin has muscle memory on the way down. And while we do this on the way up, we do this on the way down, okay? And that is simply what we are seeing here. We are seeing, people call them leg downs, step downs. That's what I see. This is just what Bitcoin does. And it doesn't mean, by the way, that if we do go down here to this area, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin's just going to go to zero, okay? Every single cycle, we have a bull market and a bear market. Every single cycle, Bitcoin goes up after the halving, and then every single cycle, Bitcoin comes down after the all-time high. Every single cycle, since Bitcoin began. So everyone that tells you the cycle's dead, the 4-year cycle's dead, we're going to have a super cycle. Where is the super cycle now? Is the super cycle in the room with us now? What is my definition of a bear market? It is this. Very simple. You come down to the previous all-time high. You come down to the previous all-time high. That's the definition of a bear market. We've retraced 50% to the previous all-time high. This is a bear market. Now, anyone telling you that we're not in a bear market and it's a super cycle, what are they going to tell you when we come down here? What are they going to tell you if we come down here? Are they going to say, oh, well, the oil thing, oh, that really messed us up. The oil really brought us down. No, because Bitcoin is doing what Bitcoin does. The video I made in January had 3 price targets. 63,000, 50,000, and I think 29,000. We have retraced from our all-time highs in every cycle by, I think we did 87, 83, 77, 70, something else, whatever it might be. Okay, that's what we've retraced. I have said that I don't think we're going to do a 77% retracement. So anywhere between maybe 60, 65%. Well, a 60% retracement from where we got to is $50,400. And that is my line. That's where I think we go down to. I could be wrong. There are other people calling for $30,000 and $40,000 Bitcoin. But it's not over. And if you are watching this and you want to buy Bitcoin, this is where you buy Bitcoin. You don't buy Bitcoin up here. You can if you want. It doesn't really matter in the long term because you're always going to win. So don't be fearful of a bear market. It's a natural state of affairs. It's a natural pattern within the financial markets. People say the Bitcoin cycle doesn't exist. It's the liquidity cycle. Well, you can call it whatever you want. We haven't broken it yet, have we? And we're in 2026. We've done pretty much what we said we were going to do. And we are where we are. So you can cry as much as you want, but I would be buying at 67 and 60 and 55 and $50,000 because that's how you make money. You do not make money buying here. You make money buying here. That is where you make your money. If you buy at 67,000 and we run up to 135,000 in the next cycle, you've made 100%. If we go to 45,000 down here and you buy then, and we go to 135,000, you've 3x'd your money. You've not doubled it, you've 3x'd your money. So you make your money here. This is where you get rich. There is no point in you wanting Bitcoin to do this, because there's no bottom. There's no real buying opportunity. You want it to come as low as possible to give you all of this time to buy. That's what you should care about. Everything else is irrelevant. But we've got a bear market. So have a bear market. Enjoy the bear market. Accumulate in the bear market. Buy at 67, 60, 55, 50. Keep buying. Buy at 45. Okay? That's how you win. Now, this obviously doesn't work when we talk about altcoins. This doesn't work when we're talking about a $50 million altcoin. It works for Bitcoin. Probably Ethereum, probably Solana, probably XRP, probably the top 5 or 6, certainly BNB coin. But it's not going to work for your AI token that launched on Pump.fun last week. It's not going to work for them. Now then, we're going to move on a little bit. Let me very quickly check what is being said. Remember to drop a comment in chat if you are watching. Can you take a look at that token? Good morning, Crypto News. Good morning, Momand. What I will do, Bitcoin buyer, is I will send your comment to the Oracle and he will have a look at that token on the live stream at 1 p.m. So that's what we'll do with that. Good morning, Parry. I hope you're doing incredibly well. What else have we got in here? We've got quite a few comments. Oh, Eddie said topic answer. Sorry. Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is, I personally, I don't think he should be. I don't think he should be burning his Bitcoin. But there you go. Who am I? I'm not Michael Saylor. Thankfully, I'm not Michael Saylor. He's got a bad cough. Anatoly Yakovenko, sorry, on Solana's 44% crypto transactions dominations. Big one. Solana is dominating the crypto transaction count, triggering conversations about growing use cases. There he is, the man himself. Anatoly, not in the headlines as much as he used to be, I've noticed. We used to talk about Anatoly quite a lot. Not so much anymore. The projects on Solana are doing a lot of the talking, and I think he's taken a step back to allow them to have the space to talk about Solana. And quite rightly, if you want your chain to become bigger than you have to take a step back and allow the chain to grow. Where I don't think that works is with the likes of Ethereum. I don't think Ethereum has enough voices to stand on its own 2 feet. And I think that's because Vitalik Buterin is such a big player. He's bigger than Anatoly by a magnitude of 100. The day Vitalik steps away from Ethereum will be a very, very sad day. The day Anatoly steps away from Solana, it's not even really going to register on my radar. We'll talk about it, of course. There are more important people to projects. In footballing terms, if you've got Alex Ferguson and he steps away from Manchester United, that is a bigger long-term blow, and that has been played out, as you can all see. That's a bigger long-term blow than, say, Jose Mourinho stepping away from Chelsea after 3 or 4 years, because the Chelsea DNA isn't Mourinho. The Chelsea DNA is there. Man United were built on Alex Ferguson, his DNA. Vitalik Buterin is the DNA of Ethereum. Anatoly built a very fast chain and built adoption. They're not the same thing. Anatoly can leave tomorrow. In my opinion, he can leave tomorrow, and that chain will just continue to grow. Vitalik can't do that. That's the big difference. So Solana Labs has reacted to statistics that portray the network as dominant, with 44% of the blockchain transactions. I don't read too much into this, by the way. I don't really care about transactions. I think they're irrelevant. You can fake transaction numbers. You can make them up. You can have wash traders. You can have bots. You can have nodes talking to each other. It's irrelevant. It's the same as talking about TVL. When people talk about TVL in Solana and they say, oh, the TVL of Solana has come down 25% in the last 6 months. Well, guess what? The price of Solana has come down 50% in the last 6 months. So technically, a lower fall in TVL means more people are stacking Solana. It needs to be like for like. So that's why I don't give them flying monkeys about the number of transactions on Solana. What it does indicate, however, is Solana is busy. That's what it indicates. But beyond that, I don't read much into this at all. I think it's great for the headline. I think it's absolutely irrelevant for everything else. What I would say is when the market takes that next step down and we do see a $50 to $60 Solana, that would be a place where I would start to really dollar cost average in. We bought it at 80. No, we bought it, I think, at 82. We bought it at 70 something. We've bought it at 60 something. We go to 50 something dollars. We're going to buy Solana again. We are going to stack our Solana. And the reason is this: we don't own enough Solana. It won't make it overweight in our portfolio, but it will balance it out against other projects that we've got, like XRP and Cardano and Link and everything else. So we're going to be stacking Solana, but that doesn't mean you need to stack it. Long term, if my life depended on it and I had to name 5 projects that will survive, and only 5 projects that will survive, it would be Bitcoin, it would be Ethereum, it would be Solana, it would be XRP, and it would be BNB. Okay, now Hyperliquid is amazing. It wasn't here 2 years ago. Okay, you have to pick 5 projects that will be here in 5 years' time, and you want to include projects that have got a track history of being here and making money. Solana makes money, XRP makes money, and will make a lot of money. BNB chain, we know that is the stable coin capital of the cryptoverse right now, but Solana is where all the hype is. You launch a project, the first thing you want to do is you want to launch it on Ethereum. The second thing you want to do is you want to launch it on Solana. That is how Solana wins, because it doesn't try too hard. It knows if it builds all the great products and allows products to be built, people will come. And that's what's happened with Solana. And you can call it a scam pool. You can talk about Pump.4 and you can talk about Melania. I don't care. Okay? I care where the people are, because where there's people, there's money. It's all well and good having a 100,000-seater stadium in a village with 5,000 people, which is what a lot of chains have got. They've got a great architecture that nobody uses. Solana is an IKEA stadium. It was built really quickly. Parts of it fell over, but now it's been working fine for 2 years. It can hold 150,000 people, and it sells cheap hot dogs. And it's just on the outskirts of London with 11 million people. It's packed all the time. Okay. Do I care about the stadium? No, I care about people being in the stadium, spending money on cheap hot dogs. You can have a Harrods stadium built near Scunthorpe, and you'll get 12,000 people there. I don't care. I want to see the volume and the numbers and the people and the projects being built. Now, we talked a few weeks ago about XRP wanting to get access to this custody pool. There's $100 trillion in this custody pool, and XRP wants to take a fraction of it. Now, even if XRP takes 0.1%, you're talking about 100 billion. Big numbers. A major shift is quietly taking shape at the core of global finance, and most investors don't appreciate its scale, according to renowned market analyst Finance Bull. Over 100 trillion sits inside DTCC's custody. XRP is positioning to absorb a piece of it. Let me break it down. He breaks it down. I'm not a fan, by the way, of these people who are making these AI images. They all look identical. It's like watching an AI bot take over all of the different crypto accounts. At the center is the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, the engine of the US securities markets. More than just a system for Wall Street, it's the infrastructure everything runs on. It does $3.7 quadrillion in transactions each year and safeguards 100 trillion in assets across 130 jurisdictions, from clearing houses to prime brokers. Now, we can all see where XRP could sit in this, can't we? We can all see how XRP could be used to put through a fraction of the $3.7 quadrillion every year. We can also see how the likes of Chainlink could really help in stuff like this as well, but that's for a different conversation. Backing that vision, newly surfaced patents outline a system where XRP and Stellar act as a digital liquidity layer, enabling seamless value transfer and settlement across fragmented cross-ledger financial networks. The global payments giant Swift is rolling out a new retail payments framework, one that notably overlaps with banks already integrated into the Ripple's ecosystem. Do you remember when people were telling you that the banks were going to die and crypto was going to take over the world, and XRP and Cardano and everybody else, they were going to replace all the banks? And I sat here and said, what will happen is we will see all of the banking systems connect into Web3, and they will not change, but they will have a plug that they can connect the likes of Swift and everything else into. That's what this is. Swift will probably have to adapt or die, and obviously we're seeing now it's adapted. Swift is already integrated, so all they have to do is become the layer between the bank and the XRP ledger or Chainlink or whatever it might be. That's how it works. But what XRP does is it makes it cheaper to carry out the transactions, which means there's a bigger piece of the pie for the banks and Swift. So rather than charging you $25 for a transaction, they might get away with charging you $12 for a transaction and make a bigger profit. Now, somebody clearly loses along the way, yes, but XRP will win. And that's just how it will be. They will win. They won't win as big as they will tell you. They won't win and say they're going to take 50% market share. They might end up with 5-10% market share in certain industries, of course. But again, the outliers of where these projects are going to go. I watched a TikTok last night and some idiot was talking about XRP going to $1,000. And he had a panel full of like people who were all about 20 and unable to shave, talking about the fact that it's going to hit $1,000 easily. Don't listen to that garbage. Okay, don't listen to it. Work out the market cap of XRP at $1,000 per XRP. Don't listen to these people. They feed on your greed. That's what they do. If you buy Chainlink and I sit here and say it's a surefire $500 token, you'll probably go and buy more Chainlink than you would have done because I've just told you it's going to go to $500. But I have no basis for that number. I just picked a random number that sounds nice. Same with telling you that XRP is going to go to $1,000. It's not going to go to $1,000. It might be lucky to get to $10 or $15 if we're honest. And that's what isn't that what the name of the game is? Now, Circle jerking. Circle stock hit a 20% fall quite recently. I don't know if it's got the chart here. It has. So this is all to do with the Clarity Act, stablecoin yield. There's an argument going on between traditional banks and the stablecoins about how you can earn a yield. They don't want it to happen because there'll be a bank run. They run on fractional reserves. It will destroy the banking industry in America, which we don't want. Okay, it's all well and good sitting here talking about reinventing the world. But if every single village bank closed down, where did the disabled people and the elderly people and the young people go to get a bank account from? Where do they get their savings accounts from if the banks are all gone? You can't get rid of banks. You can work with banks. You can work alongside banks. You can help build a better, fairer system. But if you sit there honestly thinking that we're going to get rid of banks, you need to give your head a wobble because that's never going to happen. Okay? There's too much vested interest. I can't remember the number. It's a big number. It's about 10 or 15% of the population are not capable mentally of managing their own finances, whether because of their age or a mental illness or a disability or whatever it might be. you get rid of the banks. Where do those people put their money? How do they pay their bills? You can't do that. So I understand where the banks are coming from. And I don't agree with Crypto Wendio and other people who sit there and say, we're all being screwed, retail's being screwed. That's great. Yes, you as an able-bodied woman can say that. But you've got to think about the people who can't look after themselves. And that's why you need the banks. Now, the stock is overvalued. I was talking about buying Circle at $30 to $40 when it launched. It's a ridiculous price right now. And it's all well and good. People saying, oh, you look 5 years in the future, Circle will be a $500 billion stable coin and it'll be worth this and it'll have 25 billion a year in income. Okay, that's great. That's wonderful. But I'm not paying $190 for the share. It's not worth it. They expect the company itself to be worth 75 billion by 2030 and grow by 200%. I don't agree with that either. I think it will grow more. I think stablecoin adoption will really kick in when we get all of the clarity and the Genius Acts passed. But there will be more competition. Of course, we've got World Liberty Financial, we've got PayPal, we've got lots of other competitors. Maybe that's a fair growth given there's more competition. Maybe. I just think they will become the second largest stablecoin and be a dominant second largest stablecoin. So the stock fell massively on the news that interest wouldn't be paid. And I don't know why, because everybody and their aunt knew that this was going to be the sticking point. I do expect the Clarity Act to pass very soon, hopefully in April. And then I think we're going to see a rebound in the stock. Now, can we open the image to actually get a bit closer in on this so we can see some numbers? So it's currently sitting at $103 a share. It was, when it launched, up at $280, so overvalued. I think genuinely $50 to $60 is probably a fair price for the token, because this is based on forwarded earnings, forwarded profits. I don't see a $103 price for the project, but there we go. Right then, the issue here is, again, one of these videos that I made this week was the money making crypto video, and one of the tokens in there was Circle and USDC. And again, I'm going to try and upload that video. But they're the second largest revenue generating project in crypto behind Tether. The top two biggest money making projects are Tether and Circle. Tether makes $500 million a month in revenue. $500 million a month in revenue. Circle, I believe, makes $200 million a month in revenue. So these are big players. Now, the warning I have got for you, if I just clear this down. Good morning, Kishan. I hope you are well. Abo is here. I hope you're well too. I should probably keep an eye on chat as well. Let me just very quickly go and see how everybody is doing in chat. Is everybody still talking away? Shirley is here. Why is Bitcoin falling so badly? Because it's the stage of the cycle. That's why. We are in the midterm years and we have fallen. If you want to know exactly why we're falling, go back and watch about the first 15 minutes of the stream, and that will explain where we are. Von is here. Help me so that I can know how to trade. We're not a trading channel. If you want to know about trading, the trading stream or the chart stream is at 1 p.m. UTC. 1 p.m. UTC is the stream for that if you want help. Jin is here. Good morning, Bhutan. Bitcoin is falling. Of course Bitcoin is falling. That's what Bitcoin does. Right, okay, what else do we have? The cycle will go on. The Phoenix, the cycle will go on for another 2 months. I think we will go down in April or May. That's what I think. But again, let's just be very clear about something. I don't have a crystal ball. We could go to 60,000 or 63,000 today. We could go to 60 to 63,000 at the beginning of April. There is another leg down. And that could be 55, 50, 45,000. I don't know. I think 50, because that's a 70% retracement. 60% retracement. That's where I think we're going to go. 50,000. But it doesn't matter. Now, this is Bitenza, which you have probably all heard about. You've heard all of these wonderful people talking about it. Jensen, is it Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, was talking about it. And this is the video. I made a video about Bitenza this very week. And I basically extolled the virtues of the project, explained why Bitenza was pretty good. It's basically, it's got a halving cycle similar to Bitcoin. There's only 21 million Tau tokens that will ever exist. It's got proof of intelligence, which is like proof of stake and proof of work. Lots of benefits. It's a great video on Bitenza. I am going to try and upload it to Binance Square. It's not. It's on the Rest of the World website. But I will try and put it onto Binance Square. Now, this video is about the token. And this is what I talk about all the time. Okay? And this is important. The value of a token does not necessarily reflect the value of a project. We have got Ondo, we have got Maple Finance, we have got Chainlink, we have got other real-world asset projects, other AI projects, which are all massively undervalued, and massively undervalued against their peers. Somebody put a comment on one of my videos about Chainlink asking me why I thought it was undervalued. It's undervalued against its peers. If you did an actual earnings report on Chainlink, for example, I think it's 133x. It's massive. It's ridiculous. I get that. But against its peers. And my issue is, with Bitenza, there is a narrative around AI tokens that's going on right now. And that narrative, and you know what I'm going to say if you've watched the channel long enough, is this. Does anybody remember this token? Monero. It was October last year, and all of a sudden, Bitcoin went on its retracement, and Monero started to do this run. Okay, so this is October. It's sitting at $294. And then Monero starts to get towards the end of the year, and then it goes up and it absolutely spikes at $713. And this entire journey, I said, don't believe this. It's a narrative. You're being played. Don't buy privacy tokens. You are going to get wrecked. And you had people buying at $400, $500, $600, and they went all the way up. And I'm like, please don't buy it. Please don't buy it. And that entire move, let me get it to the exact date. So that was the 16th of January. Let's just pick the 16th of January. Okay. By the 6th of February, so what's that? 3 weeks later, it had fallen 60%. And it had gone all the way back to where it was at the very beginning of this narrative. Now, I don't care what people tell you about why this happened. I don't care if it was the OGs. I don't care if it's North Korea. I don't care. What I care about is you not buying into a narrative. And buying into a narrative has no foundation. You are building a house on a grassy field without putting any foundations in. Now, my warning is not at this price. Okay? Now, we can talk about $145. We can talk about the fact it's been as high as $450, $460, up here again, $500. Now, there's a very good chance that if Bitcoin doesn't come down too soon, that Bitenza is likely to continue running up towards maybe $350 or $400. Fine. You can get in and out, make 20%, long it, 5x, 10x, whatever it is, double your money. I don't care. What I care about is reminding you that the sum of the parts of Bitenza are not much greater than 3.5 billion. So if we go to 600 and we're sitting at a $7.5 billion market cap, where does it go from there? Do you think it's going to go above Chainlink? Do you think it's going to go above Hyperliquid? Or Do you think it's going to retrace back towards $250, $300? Okay, so the warning is this. It's a solid project. It is proving itself really well, proving itself very, very well. I like the architecture. I don't like the CEO very much. I think he's a bit wet behind the ears, but who cares? He's probably a genius. And what I'm saying is that this is something you could get burnt on. So don't. That's all I'm saying. So even though I've made the video about Potenza, even though I like the project, even though I think it's a good project, I still think there is an opportunity for you to get absolutely wrecked on this token. So just be careful with Potenza. Yes, it might run up, as I said, $400 or $500, even $600. Brilliant. Just be careful with any of these narrative-led projects. And Potenza and Near and Render and FET, if you look at this market, so I think it comes under big data, doesn't it? I think we go to categories, AI and big data. If we go over here, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. We've got, that's not the right one. Let's just do it by market cap. We've got a retracement over the last few days, but ICP, Near, Render, and Potenza. Siren is another one. ASI is another one. Virtuals is another one. These are all in my picks of the best AI tokens, yes. But just be careful of an AI narrative, because what it will likely do is spike and then come straight back down again. So just be careful. It is undervalued as an industry right now. As a market, it's coming in at 17 billion. It's not a very big market. But just be careful when you start to see an outlier like this, that this is probably a narrative. And, you know, a token shouldn't rip 25% because a CEO said it was a good idea. That doesn't mean anything. You could have a sandwich shop and David Beckham could walk past and say, oh, it's a really lovely sandwich shop, this. Okay, but how does that put money in the till? How does that pay the wages? How does that keep the lights on? Because you expect people to go and buy it. Maybe it's a crap sandwich shop. Maybe he's been paid to say it. Maybe there's 1,000 other things. But fundamentally, if it's a crap sandwich shop that sells ham and cheese, it's a crap sandwich shop. So just be careful with anything that you see that is narrative-led. Now then, coordinated network of X accounts manufacturing geopolitical panic to fuel pump and dump crypto scams, says Zach XBT. Now, I thought this was quite interesting because I think Zach is one of the good guys. Lots of people don't like him because he is being paid or he has a partnership with Binance. I don't care about that partnership with Binance. Couldn't give a monkeys. What I care about is him solving these types of scams and these types of crimes. Now, again, one of the reasons I do what we do on here is to try and be the voice of reason. Okay? The voice of reason is the person that should sit here when everybody is telling you that we're going to sink, and I'm going to sit here and tell you we're not going to sink, because most of the time we're not. I'm also the type of person who's going to sit here and say we're not going to go to the moon. We might go 30, 40,000 feet in the air, but we're not going to the moon. And the reason I do that is because crypto Twitter is full of sensationalism, because sensationalism sells newspapers, it sells video clicks, it sells impressions on X, which is the monetization aspect of it. You can see it on Binance Square all the time. Binance Square some girl will put up a picture, or some guy will put up a picture of a girl crying, and then a portfolio that's down 99%, and that'll have 50,000 clicks on, or 50,000 views on Binance Square. It's sensationalism. It sells, and unfortunately, the political class have taken it upon themselves to use that sensationalism themselves. I think Wales in the UK are bringing in a law which makes it a criminal offence for MPs to lie. I think that is a brilliant idea. Imagine bringing in something saying, right, your salary as the Prime Minister and as an MP is based on how well your country does. If you screw the country, okay, you don't get paid. If you lie, and you are known to lie, then you get 3 months prison sentence for lying. Okay, if they brought that in, I think we'd change politics. And throwing a few MPs behind bars for telling lies, I don't think that's going to harm anybody, do you? So this pump and dump thing is something which is going on. We saw it again with the oil price, didn't we? Trump, 15 minutes before he came out and announced the deal that wasn't a deal. Somebody put a $1 billion long on oil or short on oil or whatever it was. They made all that money. I get all of that kind of thing. That's fine. That happens. There's nothing we can do about it. Moral outrage is wonderful, but let's focus the moral outrage at the right things, okay? Let's not be morally outraged at absolutely everything that goes on in the world, especially when it's outside of your control, okay? Inside trading, inside dealing, these people will get their comeuppance in time. That person that did that will be found and they will be tried probably in about 2 or 3 years' time. And the majority of them will be caught. But they don't get caught the day after they've done it. Okay, just moral outrage needs to be parked. I uncovered a coordinated network of 10 plus accounts manufacturing viral panic about war and politics to drive traffic to crypto scams. 10 accounts in the cluster. That wasn't very helpful, wasn't it? 10 accounts in the cluster all promoted the pump and dump crypto scam Auramama, never heard of it, on February the 22nd before never posting about it again. On-chain evidence suggests the scheme profited 6 figures. Following his posts, he said that X appears to have suspended all of the 16 scam accounts that he found, saying the accounts were likely farming engagement once again for another up-and-coming scam. I believe platform manipulation should result in bans and legal consequences, given the propaganda has many ex-users currently falling for fake news every day. Totally agree. Personally, as a best practice, I try to review recent posts and account details before engaging with content due to how widespread the engagement is. I totally agree with this. And at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to get rid of the bad people. That's what we want to do. Now then, I've just realised it's 12:07. This is the first stream back. I didn't stream all week, but I am back. Let me just bring up the stream for 1 second. I will bring something up right now when it works. Hello, Bunny. Get ready to buy more, says Eddie. Totally agree. I'm just trying to load back into Binance, which is not working right now. Come on. It appears to be a Binance Square problem as well. All I wanted to do was show you my stream for tomorrow. That's all I want to do. All I want to do before I let you go is show you my stream for tomorrow. I can't click there. Let's have a look on this one. I can't actually bring it up because it's going to be blurred. There needs to be a preview page. Okay, so this is the stream for tomorrow. I'll be streaming at the same time as I've streamed today, but tomorrow, and I will be talking about Maple Finance's updates and the Syrup token, the Syrup price, all those kind of things. We'll be picking 2 or 3 questions from the audience. So, if you are on Binance Square, or if you are on the rest of the world, what I want you to do is basically ask or think about questions you want to ask in chat and then ask them. So Maple Finance, we're going to talk about the project and talk about the price of the token. During the stream, you're going to see a box very similar to the one that's on the screen now that says, should Taylor burn his keys? That will have the competition in it, which will be ask any questions about Maple Finance and win. And I'm going to do the 2 or 3 questions at the end, and then the winners will walk away with some nice syrup. I think we had 3 winners last time. What normally happens is the same kind of questions get asked. So I'll normally get, I think last time I got 8 to 10 questions. They were quite similar, and I picked 3 winners. I'll try and pick 3 different people this time. I can't remember who won last time, but I'll try and pick 3 different people. Unless Danny or Eddie or Leo asks an absolutely outstanding question, and then I will answer it. And remember, I will answer the question with honesty. Now, before we go, Bitcoin is at 66,500. Is today the day we go to 63,000? Maybe. Anyway, thank you for watching. You are all legends. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.